Michelle. Today I've got for you a mat Pilates workout using a yoga ball. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Using the ball, we can do some really fun things. We can almost simulate some reformer exercises. So look out for some of that throughout the workout. We're going to try some challenging things. So if you're ready, let's get right to it. Okay, so we're going to get warmed up. We're going to do a little mermaid stretch first. Okay, so just sit beside your ball. Have your legs in an S shape like we do for mermaid on the reformer. You're going to have your nearest hand on the ball, elbow bent down towards the floor. Okay, so reach your free arm out, kind of settle into the hips on the mat. Take a breath in and float this top arm overhead. Now roll the ball away from you and take a side bend. And then as you inhale, bend the elbow and come back up. Yeah, and you might have to adjust where your hand starts on the ball until you feel like you have enough range of motion to go as far as you would like. Okay, so let's do this a few more times. It's okay if your top hip comes off the floor a little bit. Yeah, that's a lot of work for this lat and underarm. Keep lots of space between your ears and your shoulders. Okay, so now get over there and stay. Hold that side bend, and you're going to flex and rotate. So that back armpit twists to look at the floor, open back to the side bend, and then sit up. Good. And then again, exhale, inhale as we twist, rotate back, and then return. Good. That's not easy to hold this position here for this extended time. It's a lot of work on the shoulder. One more time. Now this time, once we twist, place both of your hands on the ball and roll it away from you. Take a nice stretch for those muscles we were just working. And then as you inhale, you're going to press into the ball, roll it towards you, and come up into a nice back extension, and then press back down. Yes, so this is very similar to doing mermaid on the reformer. So it's great. We can kind of simulate that rolling action of the carriage going in and out. Whew. Okay, one last time. Now roll the ball out. If it's comfortable for you, straighten your back leg and do a few more here. So that gives you a little bit more back and hip stretch. You can also keep the angle of your back and your leg, and as you go forward, you're going to tip and take the thigh away from the floor and back up. That's optional. Yes, that's a big position. So listen to your body. You can also do this with a bent leg, lifting the thigh off of the ground. Very good. Okay, now bend the knee and just come all the way up. Roll the ball towards you. And we'll do that on the other side. Okay, so switch sides, feet go off to the other way, and your new foot is front. Okay, here we go. Fingertips on the ball. Inhale. Exhale as you find your stretch. And then come back up tall. Good. If it feels like too much on that shoulder, start with your hand a little higher on the ball, and then more of your arm will be supported. Yes, less of your arm on the ball is more challenging. Now, get over there and stay. Use those abdominals to pull the spine into that twisted flexion. Open back up and then return. Good. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Drawing the ribs back. Okay, now this time when we rotate, place the hand on the ball, roll it away from you, and take a nice stretch under those shoulders. Good. Now start to lift and lower through the spine as the ball comes in and out. Yes. Keep a little drawing up from the abdominals so that the back is nice and supported. Good. Now we have the option to either straighten the back leg. That's a choice. Good. Now you can straighten the back leg if you'd like and continue with this spinal action up and down. You can lift your leg whether it's straight or bent. That puts a little more weight into the arms. Whew, 2 more times. Tip. Keep that back glute nice and active. And then relax. Come on up. Very nice. Okay, come up onto our knees. We're going to do a little bit of a cat stretch with the help of the ball. Okay, so come to kneeling. Place the ball right in front of your thighs. hands on top. Now, roll the ball away from you, nod your chin, and just crawl it out until you're able to lengthen your spine into a long line. And then tuck your tail under, use your abdominals to reverse that. Crawl the ball back in, and then come up tall. Good, do that again. Now, the less you send your hips back towards your feet, the more work this will be for your arms and your abdominals. So just be aware of that. Try to keep your hips stacked on your knees. If the hips do go back, it's fine. It just turns into more of a shoulder stretch. We don't have to hold our weight there as much, yeah? So hips on knees, you're gonna feel it through those abdominals. Whew, way more. It's a ton of work for the arms. So you decide. Okay, now let's get down there and hold that long line. Now leave your hands where they are on the ball, and we're just gonna round and then reach. So I'm tucking and folding and then lengthening. So not crawling the hands, just moving the spine, and the ball naturally kind of rolls to the fingertips and back. Good. Now don't have your head too far beneath your arms. You kind of want your ears between your shoulders in that long line. Now end up in that stretch to finish, and then walk the ball back towards you to come all the way up. Very nice. All right, now going into a saw, we're going to add some rotation. So place one hand on the ball, reach the other arm to the side. You're going to breathe in and rotate your spine. Extend your arm off on the diagonal. Roll the ball away from you, and we're going to get to a long line. My back arm internally rotates. Now tuck under to restack, and then face front. Let's go that same way again. We twist, roll the ball out, nod your chin, internally rotate the back arm, and get to a long diagonal. Tuck under and stack, and then return front. Whew, a few more times. It's a lot of steps. Inhale, we twist and extend the bottom arm. Nod the chin. Should feel a big stretch underneath that shoulder of the arm that's on the ball. Very good. Let's do that one more time. Twist, rotate, and reach. So same mechanics as saw down on the mat if you're familiar. Yeah, in the upper body. Okay, other side. So new hand on, other arm out. Inhale and rotate. Exhale, round and reach to the diagonal. Restack and flip the back hand and return. Good. Twist. Yes, so same rules apply of the more the hips stay over the knees, the more weight that goes into the arm, and the more work through the core and the shoulder. Yeah, so if you want more of a stretch, send your tail back. More effort, keep your weight forward. And then come on in. Okay, all right, so next, take your hands, both of them on top of the ball. Now, start with your hands closer to you to have bigger range of motion, further out to have less. Find your sweet spot. We're going to roll the ball forward, get to a long kind of plank on a diagonal, and then just roll the ball back in. So now I'm keeping my long line from my shoulders to my knees and just tipping on a diagonal. Good. So the ball is not moving nearly as much as it was before. And this can be very small, and you can still get a lot of work for the abdominals. So go as far as you can, without your spine losing shape. Okay, now next challenge, roll the ball out, bend your elbows, place your forearms on the ball, and then return to straight arms. Do that again. Roll and place, and then push and return. Good, don't get stuck down there. As soon as your elbows touch, bring them back. And if you're struggling, you can kind of push and bounce off the ball and use a little bit of momentum. All right, 2 more times. Hips open. That's it. Okay, now get your elbows to the ball. If you feel like you need to adjust and bring the elbows a little closer, you can. Okay, hips back if you need to modify. Keep them forward if you can. Now, we're just going to saw the ball forward and back. So I take my forearms away and return. Good. Whew, if your back starts to collapse, you've gone too far. Out and in. Okay, now start to take your arms in a circular motion without your elbows falling off of the ball. So lower body stays square. Whew, and then the arms make that circle. Good. Again, if you're having trouble, just take your hips back and you'll get the shoulder work without so much intensity on the abdominals. Whew. Okay, adjust your elbows if you need to, and then we're going to reverse our circle. So here we go. Hips as open as you can handle. Good. The biggest circle you can draw. 3, 2, 1, and then sit your hips to your heels. Drop your chest and stretch. Whew. So good. All right, last thing here, and then we're going to lie down on our backs. Okay, flex your hips slightly, kind of how we talked about modifying a second ago. Ball is forward, hands are wrapped around wherever is comfortable on the ball. Now, you're just going to drop your chest to the ball and then push away. That's all. Down and up. You can even touch your chest to the ball and then push off. Yeah, it gives you kind of a little reset and then up. So touch it or don't, whichever feels better. And then hands wherever feels secure to you. I kind of have mine around the edges of the ball, or the sides of the ball. I guess there's no edges to a ball, really. Okay, now either continue with your hips back or, more challenging, hips open. Whew. Now again, you can touch your chest to the ball. Whew, that's helpful. Yes, we kind of get a pause and then restart. Much harder is to not touch your body to it. So you decide. Elbows back at 45 degrees for 3, 2, keep those glutes turned on, last 1, and then stretch it out. Awesome. All right, let's lay down on our backs. So you're going to get nice and close to the ball. So kind of tuck it right up behind your thighs. And you're going to lay your calves right over top of the ball. Okay? So your inner thighs are squeezing together. Okay? And this actually feels really good because your legs are fully supported. They don't have to work too hard to hold themselves up. Okay. Arms are going to go out to a T with the palms down. Spine is imprinted. Okay, now keep the legs connected together and we're going to go into a little rotation. So kind of similar to, if you're familiar with some of the repertoire, similar to like can-can action. Yes, of the knees tipping side and then returning. So take this slowly, alternating directions. So your back hip will come off the floor as far as you're comfortable with. The more it comes off, the bigger the twist. Whew. So good. So I'm inhaling and then I'm exhaling to engage those abdominals and come back. And my legs are staying in contact with the ball. Go as far as you can before you feel like the legs are going to fall off. Fall off the ball, not fall off of you. Okay, hopefully not that, but before they fall off of the ball. Whew. Okay, a few more times. It feels really great because we can focus on what's happening through our center without having to work so hard just to hold the legs up. All right, so now tip to one side and we're gonna take this one step further. Now, my legs are tipped to one side. The back arm is gonna lift up and over. I'm gonna nod my chin and post up on my bottom elbow to reach towards my knees, lay back down, open the arm, and then return to center. Go the other way. Tip and stay. Now hold your legs wherever you've gotten them to. Reach up and off. Lay the shoulders back down and then return. Good. Find a deep twist and then hold steady. Curl and lift and then lay back through. Whew. So we have just enough support to be able to get into this really challenging position. Up on the elbow and then lower and release. So good. A few more times. If you're feeling pretty good, maybe speed it up a little bit. So transferring from side to side a little bit swifter. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. And then just rest with your legs on center. Very nice. Okay, next we are going to, instead of having your calves on the ball, you're going to have the feet on the ball. Okay, so you can be about hip width apart. You want to feel your whole foot gripped around the ball. Okay, so your toes, your arches are working. So now arms are down, knees bent. Don't have the ball too close to your hips. Have a little breathing room, okay? So now, as I inhale, I'm pushing into the floor with my arms. Now exhale, tuck your tail. I want you to see if you can roll into a bridge without losing your ball. So try to leave the ball where it is. Inhale and hold at the top. Exhale, articulate back down, and then find your neutral. Do that again. Now, some of us who have a tendency to get the hamstrings cramping up, this one might, that might happen on this one. So take your time. That instability factor is so tricky here. Yes. Try to think of activating your glutes first to try to take some of the heat off the hamstrings as you roll up and down. Yes, let's do that a few more times. Oh, I was cheating. My toes were coming off the ball. Try to push into your toes and then roll back through. If that's too hard, you can flex your feet, but see if you can keep those toes down. Roll through and then come back down. All right, straighten your legs. Keep them that same distance apart. And now we're going to repeat with straight legs. So tuck under, have a micro bend behind your kneecaps, articulate up to that same height and hold, and then soften through and release to neutral. Good. This is more challenging because our hips don't get quite as far from the floor, so we have less time to find that articulation. Good. If you had skis on the bottom of your feet, you'd want them pointing up to the ceiling, not splaying off to the side. That's it. Try to keep the ball from moving under you as much as you can. Let's do that 2 more times. Yeah, much harder to find this position with the hamstrings more lengthened. Do that 1 more time. Scoop and lift. And then roll back through. Very nice. Okay, next we're going to go into a little bit of a hammy curl at the top of our bridge. So start with straight legs. Articulate starting from your tail. Lift up and hold. Now pull the ball to your glutes and lift even higher and then lengthen. My hips go up and then return just a little bit. Last one, and then roll through the spine and come down. Let's do that again. So this really simulates how we would do hip rolls on the reformer. Yeah, we get that rolling action. Good. Ribs down, hips up. And then roll back down and relax. Okay, bend your knees for a second. All right, we're going to try one last variation. No articulating this time. Just leave your back neutral and hinge at the hips to lift. Okay, so it's all going to happen at once. Push down into the heels. Now for this one, you do need the feet flexed. Arms down. So all at once, as my knees bend, I end up in the bridge. Ready? Squeeze the glutes, roll and lift all at once, and then lengthen and lower. So by the time my legs are back to straight, my tailbone touches all at once. Lift and then lengthen. Let's do that 3 more times. Lift and then lower. 2 more. Up. Last one. Up. And then relax. Oh my goodness. Phew. Awesome. Okay, bring the ball back towards you a little bit. Okay, next we are going to go into some abdominal work, okay? So put the feet together this time, inner thighs connected, feet on the ball. Okay, now just have your arms resting. Have a little neutral space between your lower back and the mat. Now, push down with your feet till you feel that activity behind your legs. Now, keep the pressure and just roll the ball out and roll the ball in. You can adjust where your feet start until you feel like you get the right amount of range. Okay, now the legs stay tight together. Roll and then in. Okay, 1 more time. Now pause with your legs long, pushing down. Arms are going to reach overhead. Okay, now leave the legs still. Don't let the ball move. Arms are going to start to float. Chin nods, flex and round the spine, reach towards your legs, and then reverse and open the arms overhead. Do that again. I raise the arms, chin nods, and I curl, and then lower back down. Good. So if that ball's drifting, that means you're not pushing down hard enough. All right, one last time. And then we're going to put these two movements together. So arms and legs start reaching away from each other. As I fold up, I'm going to roll the ball in and then lengthen away. Everything comes to center and then away. 3 more times. Curl into a tight ball. Last 2. And last one. Whew, and then relax. Very nice. Okay. Next, a little bit of hundreds and then a little bit of teaser, and then we're going to come off of our backs. Okay. So keep that connection through the legs. Feel the glutes on the sides working. Hover your hands, press into the ball, and start pumping in that hundreds action. Yes, so you're holding your neutral spine, breathing in for 5 counts, and then exhaling like you're blowing out a candle, pursing your lips. Good. Now, if you're feeling pretty good, the next level up would be to flex the spine forward. Now watch the ball. Make sure it's not boing, boing, bouncing with your legs. Keep the pressure. Now, let's see about bending the knees for 5 counts, straightening the knees for 5 counts. Nice, tight, crisp pumps of the hands. So good. The head can go down at any point to modify, or you can take one hand behind the head. Now, pause with straight legs. March one leg up for 5, and then down for 5. 1, up, 2, 3, 4, 5, down. Pushing down with the leg that you leave behind. Let's do one more time on each leg. Pause and reach a little further, and then lay your body down. Whew. Awesome. Okay, next we're going to do one last little challenge before we try our teaser. So with the arms reaching, hands can go behind the head if needed. We're going to flex the spine. Now hold here. Don't let the ball move, so you have to go slowly. Hover both legs up, place them back down, and then return to the mat. Do that again. So body goes first. Now you have to softly take the feet off of the ball, otherwise it'll roll away from you, and then come down. 2 more times. That is not easy. To lift both legs together. And then touch down. Oh, last time. Squeeze the legs tighter. And then lower down. Oh, so good. All right, so now we're going to try the teaser with the legs elevated. It's harder in some ways and easier in some ways than without the ball. So it's easier because the legs are already where we want them. We don't have to change a thing. Much easier on the hip flexors. It's harder because it's kind of hard to roll up towards legs that are already up. Yes? So let's give it a try. Arms are going to reach back. It's the same arm action as we already did a minute ago. So I lower my arms. I nod the chin, squeeze your glutes and imprint to roll off of the mat. Stack up and reach the arms overhead and then lower back down. Now, if you're relying on the ball too much, it's going to be a little more difficult. So squeeze your legs, and it's just there to lightly help keep the legs in position. Now, if you're struggling, throw your arms. It's okay. It doesn't have to look pretty. Just try and do it somehow, and that's going to get you closer to being able to do it in the end. Another way would be to bend your knees and grab onto your thighs. That's a great one. And then do the way down as is, because that eccentric movement is a little bit easier to get. Awesome. Okay, let's do that one last time. And if you're having trouble, don't worry. Revisit this to track your progress. And then come on down. Oh my goodness. Okay, so good. Roll over and come on up. Place the ball in front of you on the mat. Okay, or well, we're actually going to point and face the side, but have your ball on the mat. So from being on your knees, we're going to place our nearest hip to the ball. So we're kind of leaning over on it. Have your elbow, your hands, whatever you need on the ball. Now, my top foot is going to stagger forward. My bottom foot is behind. Okay, now you can have your feet as close together or as far apart as feels good to you. I kind of like to have them just like a natural staggered stance, kind of 1 foot length in front of the other. Now, you can start as close to your feet as you'd like. You can even kind of sit on your bottom heel to get that nice knee flexion, and then we're gonna push out to long legs. Okay, now you just adjust your feet until it feels right. You want to be able to get down and then fully out to straight legs without having to move your feet around. Okay, so your heels can be off the floor, on the floor, whatever feels good. Your back one won't be able to be on the floor. Yes, so getting the legs working quite a bit, and then we're holding this side, kind of side plank position almost, on a moving surface, which is not easy. Okay, now take your top arm off of the ball and continue. Whew, so now we have a lot less help, way more work for that top side waistline. Good, let's do a few more here. Whew, last 2, long neck. Now we're gonna try with our bottom arm off, way harder. Here we go, push and then return. Body just stays in that long line. Reach and down. Now, any crazy people who want to try this with 2 arms off can. It's super hard. I've tried it, but it's kind of a fun, humbling experience. So don't let me stop you if you want to try. Let's do that one more time. Whew, and then relax. Oh, so good. All right, let's do that on the other side. So new hip on the ball, top foot forward, bottom foot back. Here we go. Start pushing and pulling. Use these first few reps to adjust your foot position. Either get closer or further from the ball. Now this is good. We have some support, right? This is very similar to like side bend on the mat or even some variations on the reformer. Whew, but we have a little bit of help from the ball, which is fun. All right, top arm comes off. 1 less point of support. Reach and down, and if that ball feels like it's gonna run away, don't worry. Just get it back to center and continue. Okay, switch arms. Bottom arm is off. Whew. Up and down. This one's trickier. You're in a little bit more of side flexion. 4, legs all the way long. 3, 2, whoop, almost lost it. 1, and then come all the way down. Whew. Amazing. All right. Okay. Next, and kind of to finish up, we're going to work on the back of the body. Okay, so we are going to get our hands and our feet on the floor with the ball under our hips. Okay, whew. So hands are down, feet are also down, and the ball is right under our pelvis. Okay, now the wider your feet are, the easier it is to balance. You want to really actively push into your hands and your feet so that you're not just sagging into the ball, because then that is going to feel like you can't breathe, okay? So hold your own self up. Now, all we're going to do here, leave the legs still, soften your elbows, and just flex forward. Maybe your head touches the mat, and then straighten your arms and push back up. Let's do that again. So the legs stay solid. Glutes stay engaged, and then lengthen. So try to articulate your spine to fold over the ball, and then lead with your nose, lengthen and come back up. So good for our back muscles, yes. So they're working a ton, but we're not even having to come up into an extension. We're just going from flexion to neutral. All right, last time. Very good. Okay, now walk a little bit further forward so that your feet come off of the floor. Hands right under your shoulders, legs up. Okay, now draw your ribs up, and we're just going to do some very small little double leg lifts. So my back doesn't change, my ribs don't pop open. It's just a matter of a couple inches of the legs going up and down. Good, and it comes from the glutes and hamstrings engaging, not from the back collapsing. Very good. Let's do 3 more. 2, 1, and then place your feet down, and you can fold forward and rest for a second. Very good. Okay, I'm just going to adjust so I'm more in the middle. All right, so next, this is also going to be reminiscent of the reformer exercise. Okay, so if you recognize it, that's fun. Hands are down. We're going to go into a swan dive action. This feels so good on the ball because of this rounded surface. So please be careful. Make sure you're in center and make sure that you're not going to be close to anything to hit, okay? So now turn your legs out, hip width apart. Now, I'm starting in this nice extended position. My chest is up as tall as it can be. Now, I'm going to start by lifting my legs, just like we did. Lift the legs. Now, I bend my elbows, tip my weight into my arms, and then extend the elbows to come back up. Do that again. Now, if you're having trouble, adjust where your hips are on the ball. Yes, so maybe your elbows can touch the mat. That's fun. The ball kind of rolls up on your ribs and then down, depending on how it's placed. Now, it's okay if your elbows don't touch the mat and if it's a smaller action. Okay, elbows touching, you might be able to get those feet way high in the air if you're comfortable. Up and then down. 2 more. Up and down. Last one. And then set your feet down and round. Whew. That is a fun one. Okay, next we're going to add on a leg action. So we're going to do a grasshopper. So essentially we're going to stay in that upside down position longer and crisscross our ankles 3 times, okay? So each time I switch which ankle is in front and my knees are turned out kind of like a frog. All right, so let's give it a try. Lift your chest, soften your elbows, tip the feet up. Now stay with your thighs and your back and crisscross. 3, 2, 1. Lengthen your legs and come on up. Whew, that's staying there a long time. Do that again. Elbows maybe touch or not. 3, 2, thighs off the ball. 1, reach and then come up tall. Whew, 2 more times. Get to a spot that you can maintain. Big hip extension. Oh, so good. Last one. Tip and then crisscross. Whew, and come all the way up. Oh my goodness. Okay, roll yourself back. Whew. All right, just kind of cross your arms, set your head on the ball. Whew. That was a lot of back extension, but kind of fun. Makes you feel like a kid again, like wee. Whew. All right, we're gonna finish with a little single thigh stretch and call it a day. So, ball in front of you while you're kneeling. Place one foot forward next to the ball, and then you're just gonna roll it forward. Open the back thigh and lean into a thigh stretch. And then you're going to come on up and do that again. And your front leg can be kind of turned out and wide if that feels good, or it can be more parallel. You decide. Yeah, so your spine and your back legs stay in line with each other and tip. Okay, now get into your deepest stretch and stay. Whichever foot you have forward, lift that same arm up and rotate. Find a nice stretch. Good. Now to finish, place both hands on the ball, sit back, hips to your back heel, and take a little hamstring stretch. So flex this foot. If you're not sitting all the way on the heel, that's okay. Go as deeply as you can. Whew, and then try to drop the head between the arms. You can even bend the elbows a little bit to help you stretch deeper. Okay, and then we'll do that with the other leg. So step your other foot to the side, whoop, without tipping over, side of the ball, and then just rock forward. Maybe your elbows get to the ball, and then come up. Very good. Yeah, the more short and active you keep your abdominals, it's going to help keep the low back out of it and make it more about the back, hip, and thigh, which is what we want. Now, get to the elbows, reach the arm, same as whichever leg is forward, up, push into that elbow on the ball and open. Good. Now, both hands on the ball, sit back on your supporting heel, front leg as straight as can be, toes up, and then try to just let the weight of your torso pull you down. Yes, if you bend your elbows, you'll be able to go a little further. Awesome. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed that challenging Pilates mat workout with our yoga ball. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below if you have any feedback or ideas for future videos. I would love to hear them. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video with a friend. And I'll see you next time. Bye.